G'day guys, it's Mitchell Ease here from Australasian Dirt Bike Magazine. We are here today at the Goulburn Motocross Complex to test the 300cc two-stroke enduro range. We know it's a motocross track, but they also have an enduro loop out the back that they have used for enduros in the past. That's where we're going to test these 300cc two-strokes. Now you might be wondering why we have a 300cc two-stroke enduro / trail shootout. It's because we're splitting it from the 300cc hard enduro shootout, which will run next issue. This is because the bikes are just too different. One genre is slow and crawling, while trail and race is a bit faster, so the bikes will perform completely different across the two different tests. So we are splitting up our 300cc two-stroke shootouts into two shootouts. One will be a hard enduro shootout and the other will be a trail and race shootout, like the one you're about to watch right now. So let me take you through the bikes that we have here today. We have the Fantic XE 300 two-stroke. We got the injected version, which is pretty impressive. We've never tested this bike before. We're keen to get on it and see how it goes. Then obviously we have the TM 300 EN Coarse, which is their up-spec injected model as well. They do offer a carby model, but we don't have that one here today. Of course, we have the three Austrian brands. We've got KTM, we've got GASGAS, and we've got Husqvarna. Now, the Husqvarna is a 250. That's because they did not have a 300 two-stroke for us to test, and we thought it'd be interesting anyway to put a 250 in amongst the 300s and see how it goes. And we have the defending 300cc two-stroke champ in the Beta RR 300 here today. We have the racing version, and for the hard enduro shootout we're going to do later on, they're going to run the X Pro version. And finally, we have the Sherco 300 SE factory. Now, this is their factory version. They also bring in a racing version for the first time in a few years for 2025, but they have decided to run the racing version in both this race / trail two-stroke shootout and also for our hard enduro shootout. So that's a wrap, guys, on all the bikes that we're going to have here today. Let's get into testing and we'll let you know what we think of all the bikes. All right, fellas, we're out here. We've done a full day testing all the models. It's been good conditions. It's dusty-ish, but we've survived. Tell us, Gibbo, you can go first. What was probably your pick?
Okay, my pick for bike of the day, I'm not going to tell you right now. I'm still thinking about that. But my takeaway from today is that Fantic have done a fantastic job for a first attempt. Even though half the bike's a Yamaha, I think for a TPI, it's as close to a carbureted feel that you can get in 2025. The chassis balance is superb, fork action was brilliant, and when it gets on the pipe, that cone pipe makes it sound like it's like you're 16 again.
Yeah,
So I really liked it.
it's fast, that bike. GB and Briggsy, our two racer boys. Did you think it was fast?
Definitely. It's a good time, yes. Once you hit the mid and the top, she keeps going. Lacks a little bit of bottom compared to the Sherco and the Beta, but once she hits the mid, you're flapping off the back of her.
Fastest bike here?
Probably the Beta. Yeah,
Okay.
For me. Yeah, closely followed by the Sherco and then the Fantic, I think.
Okay.
The three fastest.
And tell us what if there was something you didn't like about the Fantic?
I found the bottom end lacking for someone who rides, I guess, harder terrain. I can't ride fast, I'm no good at it.
Yep.
It lacked bottom end for me.
Yep. Graham?
Why has it got 5 years? Honestly, if you're a Yamaha rider, I think you're used to it. But I was just struggling to find the right gear for the right thing. Just in between third, second, I was like, I'm hunting around, and because that slight flat off the bottom, for hard enduro, I think I'd struggle with it.
Okay. Boys, what didn't you like about the Fantic?
For me, the chassis was a little bit, just going from all the steel bikes to an aluminium, I found it just a little bit more active in the suspension, and it just felt a little cramped for me. I don't know why, but it doesn't look cramped for that, but it just felt awkward on it compared to the other bikes.
Okay. All right, Briggsy, you mentioned the Beta. What did everyone think of the Beta?
It's fast.
Yeah?
Race ready. That's the best way.
Yeah, the KYB version. So what's that? That's the race,
Yep.
isn't it? Yeah, they mean business, those bikes. It's probably, I would say, it's the fastest bike here.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it's also the cleanest running carby of the lot. So so they've done a really good job with that. And yeah, I can't really fault the Beta, to be honest.
Gibbo, you ride a Beta at home. Graham, you ride a KTM at home.
That's right.
Tell us, what do you go first, Gibbo? Thoughts on the new Beta?
It's my favourite bike of the day. The twin plug makes it run super clean. Runs cleaner than my 2023. There's power everywhere. Again, even though the frame's probably slightly smaller than the Beat Boy bikes, the Austrian bikes, there's still room on it for me. And front to back balance, it doesn't pitch. And fork action again, and the shock. I mean, I don't really think about. I'm not really a shock guy, but yeah, it's the chassis balance and how clean the motor runs.
Graham, you come hopping off a Kato normally. How'd you find the Beta?
I haven't ridden KYB before. I've heard a lot about it. All of those bikes that had KYB, when I went onto the Austrian bikes, I realised that it's better. For me, it just felt better. That was terrible.
He didn't like the gas.
No, didn't like it.
Well, let's move on to the Austrian.
Power delivery on the Beta, yeah, getting used to that carby.
Yeah.
But the way it's balanced, felt pretty good.
Let's move on to the Austrian bikes then. You can kick us off, Graham. Which was your favourite of the three Austrians?
Actually, the 250 was, if that was a 300, I'd be happy.
The Husqvarna.
Just off the bottom, felt good. That Kato is super aggressive. Like, it's pretty, the mapping, I don't know if it's stock, but that's the top model, isn't it? But
Yeah,
the
that's a
front brake
Champions
on that-
Edition.
Front brake on that was incredible.
Yep.
I just don't know why they make that. Honestly, it's an entry level, but it's got nothing on it.
I'm going to disagree with that. I think that is a fantastic trail bike, and I could ride that all day at Red Hill or Menai.
Yeah.
And that's the best stock open cartridge fork I've ever ridden on. Below 60 kilometres an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a trail riding fork, I can't fault it. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but it's cheaper, but then you've got to put everything on it. It hasn't even got a bash plate.
No bash plate, no handguards.
Handguards, bash plate. You know, you got to spend money on it straight away. So to me, it doesn't make sense.
Boys, GASGAS KTM Husky group.
For me, the KTM. The KTM was the all-round standout out of three. I felt like I could trail ride it and it did everything perfectly, but then if I wanted to push into kind of a race mode, I could do that. The fork I thought was the best out of three too. It's been revised, obviously, with the closed cartridge. It's definitely a better fork and more similar to a KYB setup. And the balance, it just felt really balanced. It's going to be hard to beat that bike for the day overall, but it's between that, the Sherco and the Beta for me, for sure.
Jeffrey, you spent a lot of time on KTM and Husqvarna and etc. in the past. What do you think of the new ones?
I think the 25 model two-strokes are probably the best version of the TPI, TBI that they've ever had. I've always had issues since they've gone to TPI because I thought for years that the KTM carby models motors was easily the best, and now I think what this 25, what they've got going on with that is by far the closest they've felt to that. Just super strong, super linear delivery off the bottom. And in all honesty, for me, the KTM, you just hop on it and you just feel, I don't know, it's just easy.
Yep.
Everything about it's easy.
Yep.
Clutch action, the brakes, suspension, they finally got some good forks on there, so the balance is right there. And yeah, I mean, like Briggsy said, it's really hard to pick against that Champions Edition because it really is just all around a good bike. And again, we're splitting hairs now. Like 10 years ago, the bikes it was easy to pick, you know, between the 7 bikes, and now like I would happily own every one of these bikes, no problem. But I mean, on this particular track, in the powder and the rocks, for me, I think so far, KTM's in front of me.
Let's talk about the TM because you're sitting on it in front of me, Jeff. Briggsy, what's your thought? Actually, I'll start with someone else on the TM. Let's go over here, Graham. TM.
I found it a difficult bike to ride. Just that off the bottom to the top end had heaps of top end, but it's just not delivered properly. For this type of riding and for my ability, I struggled on it.
Okay.
Suspension was really good. I felt really good front end feel.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know little things like the brake levers and everything, like the foot pedal, like they stick way out. Every one of us are touching.
The length feels like it's
Yeah.
an inch longer. Like
Yeah.
You're
And they
locked in at your heel, you're struggling to get your foot right on it.
And if you look on your
Kinda
gear lever, most of the guys are actually using the lever, not the actual
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's a,
Yeah.
there's a mark on the actual lever. And it's a long way out.
Yeah, it's a long way out.
Okay, so levers are long on the
It's
TM.
going to get ripped off on a big day in the bush.
Yep.
Like, for sure.
Okay.
I just found I struggled to get the rear brake on some of the downhills when you want to lock in your boot under that arch.
Yep.
You kind of got to go forward more to get your toes to be able to move your ankle. And then you can't lock in to hold yourself back in your technique.
I liked the front end, Briggsy. Now, you've come in and said that you weren't a fan, but I liked the front end on the TM.
No, the front was fine. I didn't mind the suspension too much. The chassis okay. The motor lets it down.
Sure.
It's a Rieu motor for me. It's a little bit of bottom, more than probably the Fantic, but
Yep.
no mid, no top, so it's a light switch. It's all of a sudden crawling, and then next thing you're kind of hanging on. So,
Yep.
which is just in these slippery conditions, like Graham said, it's just breaks traction off it goes,
Okay.
and you're hanging onto it. So
It's hard. I think this bike, I feel like the ones that are a bit more ridden, they're a bit more refined to what we have. Whereas I think this still feels like it has its own identity versus the rest of the bikes. I feel like the rest of the bikes almost have this sort of push for like nice linear rideability, whereas this thing still feels like it's a little bit behind with that.
Sit out, David.
Yeah, and it even just like feels a little bit in that response in the engine, but I don't know, I just think it still feels very European compared to, I feel like the gap of the overall feel of the bikes is very similar,
Close.
and then this feels a little bit more Euro than what we are used to, which is
this
fair
feels
enough.
10 years older to me. Like it feels like it's been outdated, and they haven't caught up to what everyone else is sort of doing.
Gibbo, TM?
Yeah, I completely agree. With Jeff and Briggsy there. I think my brother had a 2008 and it was a light switch. I was scared to ride it, and once you get on the pipe on that, you've got to be an expert rider to hang on to it. It must have 60 horsepower. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
In a straight line, amazing. I find the switch gear, the ergos, it's just all a bit funky. And for me personally, there's just too much of a difference between that and all the other bikes for me to get on with it, I guess, long term.
Yeah.
In terms of ownership, look, I think it looks amazing. The welding's superb. It's a work of art. Look at it. It's gorgeous. But for me to get on and ride it, I was slightly disappointed.
Yeah, okay. They are still handmade, which is what you're talking about there.
I will say, but we had the opportunity to ride the injected one last year, and I found it a much better bike than the Harvey one.
Okay.
Pretty cool they offer both.
It is cool they offer both. Yeah.
So this is Carby one.
Yeah, this is
They
the carb.
have an injected
And he's got the injected one there, and it's they've let themselves down a little while with this one today. And I think that the other one's a much user-friendly motor. It's closer to, say, the GASGAS of last year before they refined them a bit.
All right, last bike then is the Sherco. I felt like personally that was probably the firmest suspension setup, and probably felt it and the Beta probably felt the raciest, but I'm going to give that to the Sherco because it just felt firmer than everything else. Jeff, as our racer boy, what do you think of the Sherco?
It's probably the most comfy I've been on a Sherco. I don't know whether it seems like all the bikes actually are a lot stiffer than they've ever have been. I really like the fork in that Sherco. I think it's nice and plush, and you still got to push for it, but when you push for it, it's solid. I feel like you sit really high on the bike, whether the seat's firm or not. But no, I really like it. It's strong, it's fast, and everything's pretty integrated now. Like it's very easy to move around on. The gripper seat's good. That and the Kato, both of the gripper seats are solid. I like that. These ones can get a bit slippery. I think
GASGAS probably the slippery.
the GASGAS was the slipperiest one, but overall, I mean, the Sherco's good. Sounds good too. They all sound pretty awesome. But I think the Sherco is definitely, that and the Beta, they're definitely catered for the race guys. But now I feel like the Austrian group, especially the Kato and the Husky with the closed chamber forks, they've bridged that gap a little bit more. So they still have the rideability, but you still can push. You got that flatland jump over the back there, and didn't really have any dramas with that on any of the bikes really, except maybe the GASGAS.
Yeah.
Just because it's got the more trail orientated fork. But the Sherco's it's a good thing.
Graham, Sherco. What are your thoughts, mate? You've ridden my one I used to have maybe once or twice. What are your thoughts on the 25?
I like it. It's same with me being a bit taller. I kind of felt like I was away from the seat more than the other bikes, if that makes sense. So it just feels like it's a bit lower and over the top. But once you get used to it, jumping off bikes is pretty hard to sort of, you forget what you're doing a bit. But I like it. I want to see what that's like tomorrow in the harder stuff, because I think off the bottom and that it felt really nice and easy to use. So.
Gibbo?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the bottom end on that is really strong and really user friendly. Again, it's jetted clean, ran super clean from bottom to top. Love the clutch action. And again, the ergos, I found it super comfy to ride, and it's by far the best Sherco I've ridden.